pages. Most people were publishing web pages with HTML and links in it, maybe some images. That's what Web 1.0 was. And there's a lot of web browsers were being developed at that time. So that was 1.0. Then from 2005 until now is Web 2.0. So what Web 2.0 is also known as centralized web. In the centralized web, the websites have become dynamic, and there are also shush. Can everybody mute, please? Um, and then web has also become a modern and responsive. Means you can design your web applications. You can open that in any browser, mobile application. I mean, mobile or browsers doesn't matter. It's going to serve there. Um, the key technologies in Web 2.0, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, native frameworks grew a lot. And then social media became a big deal in Web 2.0. So today, I think most of you are on some kind of social media, if it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any kind of this social media is big thing. Um, one biggest thing in Web 2.0 was the centralized web. Centralized web means that most of the data is stored on centralized servers and applications as well. For example, if you have the Instagram, app, all the most of the data is stored in a centralized servers hosted somewhere in the cloud. So while we are right now in a phase, we are migrating from Web 2 to Web 3. And I'm going to ask you guys questions, right? Um, one of the biggest thing today, what you do is you go to the website, you go to Facebook, for example, or you go to LinkedIn, or you go to Instagram, and what you're doing is you are contributing content. You're creating content. We all are content creators. Okay, we take pictures, we post our post on LinkedIn, we post our picture on or video on Instagram, so on and so forth. But um, while we are creating this content, we are also, um, I mean, we don't really get anything in return. Do you agree with that? You are basically building Facebook. Without the users, there's no Facebook. You agree? Um, and Facebook makes a lot of money from it. But the next generation, some of you guys are questioning that. You guys are saying, the young guys are saying, millennials and Gen Z, that if we are contributing something to an economy, we want to get paid for that. We want to get some kind of something in return. So that's what Web3 is all about. So if you look at the top header here, Web 1 is read only, Web 2 was read and write, but Web 3 is read, write, and own. What does own means? Own means you can actually own a piece of the economy you are participating in it. So what does that mean? Again, that means if you are joining a Web3 social media app and you are contributing to this by posting either your photos, your videos, anything you post on that, or you promote it, you're actually going to own a piece of it. And that's the major difference here. So more you create, more you participate, you're going to own more of that property. And how is this possible? This is possible by using some of the newer technologies that were introduced as a part of Web3. And that's what we're really going to talk about today. Um, so when you say why is Web3 here, right? One of the questions, why do we really need Web3? We have to think about three things. There's current problems. There are like today we are facing several problems in Web2, and there's a lot of innovation happening. Because of these new innovations, there is a need for a newer web. And this thing happens every it's a generational upgrade. Means every 15 years or so, there is a major shift in these technologies. And that's where we are right now. So let's look at some of the current problems. And you guys are all programmers, developers. You're going to be building the future solutions. You are going to build the future Facebook or future, Instagram. You are going to build those. You are the future. So you need to also understand current problems. One of the biggest problem today is cybersecurity. There is so much fraud happens. I'm sure you probably, if you have not been a part of any frauds, I'm sure you have been either hacked or somebody called you or somebody stolen your money. It's like it happens every day. If you look at the numbers, they're just insane. There's a cost of cyber attacks in 2022 was $6 trillion. And then total data breaches in 2021, 22 billion. So these numbers are insane. You can go to any bank, you will find that they have lost millions of dollars. Actually, one bank said they lost about $5 billion in these frauds and cyber attacks. So that's one of the biggest problems in today's Web 2.0 world, right? Second problem is that all of our data, all of your data is actually stored and controlled by government, healthcare systems, finances, financial systems, and banks. Okay. That means if one of those systems are getting hacked, for example, your bank, if your bank get hacked, hacker will steal all your information, your name, your date of birth, your address, and so on and so forth. Um, then healthcare systems. Look at some of the healthcare systems. India is also same way, but in US it's
Sir, you are not audible.
Muted, sir.
can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
now it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now you are
How,
audible, sir.
when did I stop? Was
The
it not
healthcare
audible?
system in US.
Okay, healthcare system unit. Okay, got it. Thank you. So let's go back here. Um, so yeah, think about the healthcare systems in the US is so broken that you go to multiple hospitals and doctors, there are multiple copies of duplicate data everywhere and they don't sync data. So if I go for some checkup in one hospital, other hospital don't know, they don't know that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of redundancy and also data inconsistency. That's a big problem also. And then there are these social media companies and these financial systems, and what they do is they take your data and they sell it to third parties. And the last problem is there's a big challenge of the size of data is growing. Every day, the amount of data we are creating as humans and the people is just it's so much that it's going to create so many problems in coming few years. So each year now, every year, like in the year 2022, just in one year, we created the same amount of data which we have created so far in the whole life of this internet. So in 2023, we are going to create again a lot more data. So where are we going to store all that data? Sure, right now it's going to these clouds, some of these private owned servers, but this can't be growing at this speed. So there is a big demand of solving these problems. And you students are the future. You are going to find these solutions. And that's why we are talking about these problems because this is one of the reasons Web3 is needed. This is the one of the reasons Web3 is going to grow in coming time. So big reason, the second biggest reason for Web3 is here is that the innovation, the new technology is coming so much. For example, 5 years ago, if you say you are going to build a video game that will stream on your device, your phone, in AR, VR, that was not possible. Why? Because of the internet speed, number one. Number two, the device's capabilities. Number three, the storage and processing powers, and so on and so forth. But today, your iPhone or your any smartphone is as much as powerful as your computer. Okay, they can store terabytes of data. They have processor that's pretty fast. They can do all the gaming and so on and so forth. Um, so these are some of the reasons internet speed is not only faster but also the data downloads and data processing is cheaper as well. And then thanks to even pandemic, the virtual worlds are growing. Look at us. We are now doing, I'm sitting here in the US and you're sitting in India, and we are doing this virtual conference. We can live stream ourselves pretty much. But this is 2D, okay? This is 2D what we're doing now. The next generation is saying that 2D is great, but we want 3D. Not only we want 3D, we also want to augment some of the objects, right? So imagine rather than sitting in your room, your board, your room, whatever your room is, you say, you know what? I want to listen to this Web3 webinar, but it will be nice if I'm on a beach or I'm in a garden or I'm somewhere else sitting somewhere else. These devices, these AR, VR devices gives you um, all these capabilities where you can just wear them and attend this webinar while enjoying relaxing thinking, not in real, but in virtual on a beach. So that's kind of possibilities are happening because of this technology. Look at the numbers. The global market, it says here, metaverse market is expected to grow to almost $1 trillion by 2030. So these are big, huge numbers. Um, so that's why you should start thinking about Web3. Then the third reason for Web3 is generational upgrade. What does that mean? As I said before, every 15 years or so, there's a major shift in mindset. Not just the technology, not just the innovation, but also the mindset of the generation. So when I grew up, my thinking was totally different than the new guys. And the next generation after you will also think totally different. Your needs are different than mine, right? So that's how it is. Open source and open culture is growing. Like today, you will see lot more open source and open projects. Everybody's sharing. But when I grew up, when I was your age, everything was patented. No, you companies even did not allow you to work from home because what if you copy the code? What if you copy the idea? But that's gone now. It's changing, right? So everything is changed. Um, Other big thing is instant gratification. So all of you guys grew up with social media. There is a need for instant gratification among millennials and Gen Z. They get bored very quickly. Today, if you want to read and listen or do some even your own growth, you have to feel like you are being rewarded for that, and there's some kind of gratification for that. Why? Because we grew up with social media, thanks to Facebook. It has made us big addicted to this instant gratification where you have to feel like you're getting something for doing whatever. Um, and then one of the other big need is something meaningful. Means the generation before millennials and Gen Z, they were working to, either get a job or get a better wealthy and so on and so forth. But this generation is different. You guys are different. You want to work for a company, they're building something meaningful. You want to be a part of a company that also helping the climate in this whole universe, and also you want to own if you contribute. And this is kind of mindset is there. Because of this mindset, Web3 is a big need because Web2 cannot do that. Current systems cannot do that. Current systems, also called centralized systems, are controlled and managed by these large corporations. Okay, large corporations own us. Google knows everything what you do. Apple knows, Facebook knows, Instagram knows. How many times you guys talk among yourself? The other day, I'm telling an example. The other day, I saw a car on the road. I was driving with my family. I saw a brand new car, and I start talking to my family like, "Oh, look at this car. Wonder what company it is. It's pretty cool. It looks like it's electric car." Next thing I open my, Instagram, I see electric car ad in my phone. So they're listening. Not only they're tracking on your browser, but they're also listening. Okay, these companies are listening. They track everything you do. So that's kind of where we are going with this. So the next generation is saying that we don't want these companies to track us. We don't want them to know us. We want to be anonymous. We want to be private. We want to be safe. We want to be um, also secure. So those are
जी,
some of the major challenges Web 2 has, and that's what we're trying to solve with Web 3.
वो अंदर पड़े थे
Somebody,
गंदे मैं नहीं थी ना घर मैं नहीं थी ना घर
Yeah, guys, please stop talking.
चली थी
can you
मैं कैसे
mute?
Guys, please mute yourself.
So how Web 3 will solve these problems? Remember, we just saw three major problems. Quickly, look at this. We have cyber security problems and data control. We have innovation is coming here big time. We have a different mindset of the generation. How Web 3 is going to solve that? So let's look at that quickly. That what does Web 3 means, what's involved in Web 3, and how it is going to solve these problems. In these next few slides, I'm going to talk about what Web 3 technologies are and how decentralization is different than the current centralized systems, and what is the role blockchain, AI, and tokens play in this whole ecosystem of Web 3 technologies. Um, so look at this chart, right? This chart is it's on the internet, pretty popular chart. When you think of Web 3 is a set of multiple technologies. It's not a one technology. Okay, Web 3 is a big umbrella. Think of that. It includes some of the newest technologies, and one of the most popular is a foundation of Web 3 is blockchain. Blockchain is a foundation. Then it has other new technologies, metaverse, 3D graphics. Then it has ubiquity. Then it has digital identities, micropayments, AI, and big data and decentralization. So when somebody asks you what is Web 3, your answer one line is a Web 3 is a set of new technologies that includes metaverse, blockchain, decentralization, AI, and so on and so forth. That's what Web 3 is. So any system you build using these technologies becomes a Web 3 system. Um, so that's one part, right? Because you are all a computer science graduates, you are all going to be programmers. I think most of you. Um, so you are going to build these new systems. Either it's a mobile app or it's a either website, whatever it is. This is going to have one or more of these technologies. And then the foundation, the bottom of that is community, means there has to be a piece of community in Web 3. Um, Web 3, and I'll share this more in next slide. So let's talk about decentralization. What is centralized versus decentralization, right? There's centralization and decentralization. In centralized world, which is today, a company, for example, let's take an example, Google or Facebook, they create a website or a platform or app, right? Called, let's say, Facebook app, or Microsoft has this LinkedIn app, LinkedIn website and app, where you just join and they open an account and they start contributing their content. And then that company owns all the content you publish there because it's their platform, it's their servers, it's really their data, they own it. And they can do whatever with it. They can make money from it, they can sell it. That's what the whole idea is, right? Once in a while, they may give you back something. For example, YouTube. So if you are a content creator on YouTube, YouTube may give you some money back from whatever money they make from that. So that's pretty standard centralization, centralized systems, right? What is decentralization? Decentralization it says that no one party or one person or one company controls the data or the applications. These are controlled by a bunch of people, and for their participation in running these applications, they get rewarded. And it's possible using blockchain technology. And that's where it gets a little complicated. If you don't know blockchain, it gets, in my coming talks on Web3 on C Sharp Corner and Sharp TV, C Sharp TV, I'm going to talk more on blockchain. By the way, on C Sharp Corner, I have written several articles just for students on basics of what is tech blockchain, how does it work, what are the networks, decentralized and dApps, and so on and so forth. So blockchain is one of the foundations of Web3 applications. Think of blockchain as a replacement of a cloud or centralized server. So I've been building these software applications since 1997. When I started building software, it used to be client applications, then desktop Windows applications came, then it came client server, then it became COM decom. You can connect to the different, then came the distributed systems, then now it is cloud. Right now, the era we are in is cloud. And I believe after cloud, there's going to be a big era of this blockchain in decentralized apps called dApps. That's the next. And why? Because of those previous three problems. Because blockchain is the technology that helps solve those previous problems. How? Let's go back to those problems for a second, right? So how does it solve this cybersecurity and fraud and centralized control of data? Well, in blockchain technology, the data is actually encrypted from day one. So if some hackers goes and hacks one of the nodes, they can't find anything. First of all, it's encrypted. Second of all, they try to change the data, they cannot change because all of the nodes involved in blockchain has to agree and have to have the same data. So there's more complications, but it's not possible on blockchain. Okay. Control of data is not centralized. The community owns that data. Okay. And same thing with the size of the data because it's not centralized, not in the cloud. This can also be managed in a distributed systems. So that kind of helps. This um, and then network rewards. Obviously, the people runs this decentralized systems, not the companies, not the businesses. Okay. And those people are running these systems called nodes, node owners or node whatever. There's there are multiple words for that. You can be an operator, you can be a um, uh, so they get reward for running these nodes. And then third piece is digital identities. This is part of that is that digital identities are the one they define the person or the system that's running the node. You guys can also have your questions ready from this slide. We are going to ask, we are going to open this session for the Q&A in the end. And I want to make sure that at least you learn something from it because if you have any questions, end of the day, goal is you get something out of this 1 hour. So digital currency is another piece of Web3. And you can take example of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I'm sure a lot of you have heard and got involved and bought and purchased or earned these digital currencies or cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of them out there. So in past few years, we have generated almost $2 trillion.
You are muted, sir.
Sir, you are not audible now.
You are muted, sir.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, Atul, stop muting me. Hold on, let me go back. How do you go back? Let's see. Yeah. So um in past, as I said, there's $2 trillion as wealth is already created in these cryptocurrencies. And open source is big piece, means all these new systems are being created in Web3 are open source. That means any of us can go and either look at the code, understand that how it's built, participate in and join it. We can become contributors and ambassadors. Again, when we become that, we become part of that company. Think of, if you want to think this as a company, you become part of the company and you start earning these tokens and coins. That means you become now owners. So you can compare the tokens or coins of a project as is shares of a company. And I'll share a little more in the next slide. But that's how you start owning the piece of it. For example, Bitcoin is a perfect example. So when Bitcoin was created, anybody who's running Bitcoin node start earning Bitcoins, and hence they become the owners of the whole Bitcoin ecosystem. They didn't do anything. All they did is they ran Bitcoin nodes, and node participated in the whole whole on-chain transactions and so on and so forth. Um, yeah, and there's a lot of money also available in Web3 grants and funding. This is for some of you guys who have entrepreneur mindset and want to build your own company, want to build your own project, you have your own idea. There's a lot of millions of dollars, probably billions available in grants and funding. So, how does this work? Now, you will say, okay, we heard this whole thing, ownership of the tokens and so on and so forth. How does it really work? So, what happens is, let's say you have an idea. Let's say you come up with this idea that you are going to create a new project that will help, I don't know, farmers in India, where farmers need some education, some advice, need some help from government. So, you're going to create a project, and it's going to be a Web3 project where, you know, any farmers can look at the app and they can get, maybe, I don't know, message or alert from the, hey, there's going to be rain or there's going to be no rain for so long, so you have to prepare, or crops coming, or whatever the problem is. So you want to build this solution for farmers. So in traditional way, what you will do is you'll create a business plan, you will create a deck, you'll go to investors, raise some money, create POCs, raise more money, build your team, hire your employees, pay them, launch your product, then get customers, and then market and so on and so forth. That's pretty standard in a non-Web3 manner. That's how you start your company. But how does it work in Web3? Web3 is a little bit different. In Web3, what you do is you say, okay, I have an idea, a project, and it's open source here. I'm going to start creating, but I'm going to, and let's say that I'm going to create 1 million tokens, for example. Now, these 1 million tokens own the 100% of this company, new company you are building. Okay. Now you can say, oh, anybody helps me build the product for year one, they will earn, 5% of the tokens. Now one guy joins you, that guy helps you build the program application, and that person owns, I don't know, say, 1% of the company. They become now 1% owner. Now you say, we need a marketing person, we need a somebody CFO do all the things. So now same thing, they join that project again and they get some tokens. Um, that token now becomes also valuable because now you can sell the token to investors as well. You go to investors and say, hey, we are building this solution for farmers. We believe we're going to have 1 million farmers in 1 year, year one, and each farmers in government will give us $1 or two in monthly. That becomes our $1 million revenue. Based on that, you can go to the investors and they will buy, say, 2% of your tokens. That's how you raise money. So all this come part, everybody who's joining this project now, you may have some farmers now join the project, they become help you build the POC, they become your beta testers. They also give you insights on their farm and how they do crops and so on and so forth. So they also start earning the tokens because they are now helping build this new product. Uh, so this whole thing becomes a community, okay? Because everybody believes in this project, everybody's contributing, and everybody's earning those tokens. This is what Web3 is all about. Web3 is pretty standard. This is you can see this right chart. Um, because because it's a community, it doesn't have a traditional CEO. It doesn't, even though some companies call them CEOs on their board, but that's not ideal Web3. Web3 is run by a board, decentralized autonomous organization called DAO. That's ideal Web3 board where, think about this. Here's a company right here, this perfect example of chart of my token. I'm building one of the companies called Sharp Token. So what Sharp Token is, we are launching a token for C Sharp Corner. So our DAO look like there's a board. Board includes founders, executives, and so on and so forth. Each board member gets one vote. Then we have MVPs and ambassadors, right? These ambassadors and MVPs will get a vote as well. And then we have investors. So you can add more pieces to this. So all these three bodies combined make a board. And then when any new decision has to be made, it has to be made by this board. For example, let's say we say, one of the members may propose that, hey, we should use sharp token for farmers. Now that proposal has to go to this board and board members have to vote. And if 51% approves that, that proposal goes to the pass board and gets implemented. This is how it really works. Now let's say you want to hire a marketing firm, right? And you say we don't really have a cash. There are multiple ways to do. You can sell some tokens as a DAO. You'll have an entity running that there's going to be a fund for that. Or you can say, hey, you join us, and every time you does a monthly, we are going to this many tokens per month. There are different ways to go from there. Today, right now, there are thousands of these projects where they have hired developers, marketers, promoters all over the world, and they get paid in tokens. It's already happening. One of the best part with Web3 projects is that they're all distributed and decentralized. They don't care. They don't look at sometimes you don't even know the real person. All you knew is their avatars and their Telegram and so on and so forth. So this is how really, in nutshell, the Web3 is. And again, you can have your questions ready. How many questions you have? Let me see. Yeah, so there's a few more technology that's playing major role in upcoming Web3 ecosystem, and you need to pay attention to those. They are going to change the way we write software, the way we write code, and as a matter of fact, they are also going to replace some of the programmers. Um, AI and low code, no code platforms, they are the big challenge for programmers. And if you have not looked at it, look at GitHub Copilot, AWS Code Whisperer, and Google Bard, ChatGPT, all those, they're already helping write code. So if you're a student, you should start learning that because they're going to help you write better code and faster code. End of the day, either you build your own company or you're working for other company, everybody's looking to build these solutions much faster. And these tools are actually going to help you build your applications much faster. On C Sharp Corner, by the way, we are publishing articles and ebooks and all content on these almost every week. We're going to actually launch several free ebooks for anybody on Copilot and ChatGPT soon. Um, Low code, no code platforms are also growing. It just helps you build these applications and launch them faster for your customers. You may also want to look at those. Intelligent IDE. There are a lot of IDEs like Visual Studio and several others. They have this intelligence plugins. So you always want to look for. Don't just keep doing same thing you're doing for a long time. There's always new thing happening. There's always new improvements. You have to know these new features to be more productive. Imagine you have a brand new car and it has these turbocharged gears and so on and so forth, but you still drive that as a tractor. That's not good, right? You want to know all these features. So what do? You have to go to these websites, the company blogs, and follow the accounts where you can learn all these new features and start using them in your day-to-day development practices. With that said, I think so. By the way, we are launching a Web3 show on C Sharp Corner live soon. Keep an eye for that. But with that said, I'm going to actually open up for some question and answer. And my goal is really, hopefully, you learn something today and ask those questions, and let's see if I can answer those questions as many I can in next 20 minutes. So let me stop sharing this now. My screen. Stop sharing. Okay, all right. Let's guys, we can go through some questions. Anybody has questions? How you want to run that, Atul?
Yes, Sika ma'am, do you have some question from students?
So can I ask a question now?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
you can definitely ask questions. Yes.
I wanted to ask that as we know that blockchain node are distributed all around the world in different nodes. So if I want to make a change in the structure of my blockchain, how can I make that? How is that possible even if it's distributed all around the world?
So the way it works is, and I'm involved in a couple of blockchains. Whenever there's new version comes out, everybody gets. It's like installing a new software. It's no different than that. Your node software has to be updated. When node software gets updated, when certain number of nodes are updated, then it changes the data is also updated with that. Usually, it's a minor changes. You don't want to do big. If it's a big major change, then you have to announce that from this time to this time, we are implementing this new change, and from this hour to this hour, there's not going to be acceptance of new transactions. Everybody has to download new code, new node before they can start become valid. There have been bunch of blockchains. They have lost a lot of node owners lost a lot of their tokens because of that. But hopefully that makes sense. It's like pretty much coordinating there is a blockchain, always blockchain team that maintains the whole project, right? They have to notify all the node owners. In node owners, I'm talking about is the master node owners. You can call them authority nodes. So they are not everybody runs authority nodes. Usually there are like from few hundred to thousand maximum. That's kind of number. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go. Keep going. More questions.
Hello, sir. My question is that Solidity is the only programming language for developing Web3 applications, sir?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So, no, answer is no. Solidity is a programming language just for Ethereum blockchain. Okay, so you can think of blockchain as a database. So you know how there's a lot of database. There is SQL Server, there's Oracle, there's MySQL, Postgres. There are probably 200, 200 major databases out there. So you can pick any of the databases, but most of them are use SQL because they're SQL database. But there are also a NoSQL database. So there you don't need SQL. Similarly, blockchain is a database. Think of that a blockchain is a ledger. So Ethereum is one of them. Polygon, Binance, BNB Chain, Solana, Algorand, Stratus, Near. There's 2,000 blockchains out there. So depending on what blockchain you put, some support multiple languages. Most of them support multiple languages. But if you are dealing with Ethereum blockchain, which is the largest one, they have Solidity language to write a smart contract. So there's two pieces to this blockchain applications. One piece is called a smart contract. Smart contract actually runs on blockchain. So if you are building a smart contract for Ethereum, it has to be in Solidity. But if you're building your application that just consumes the Ethereum blockchain, then your application can be in anything. It can be in PHP, it can be in ASP.NET, it can be in HTML and JavaScript. Most of the blockchains has these APIs where you can call the API to create a new account, send a transaction back and forth. So think of like a blockchain as a database. They have an API. You can build your application in any language you want. You can build in C++, you can build in C Sharp, ASP.NET, JavaScript, pretty much any language.
Okay, sir. And one more question I have, sir. If one person is working on a blockchain, then the blockchain works on the existing system, or one want to set up a new system for the blockchain, sir?
Are you creating a new blockchain?
No, sir. My question is that if one person wants to enter into the Web3, then
Yep.
how then one person can perform the blockchain on the existing system, or he wants to upgrade the system to new things?
Okay, you have an existing application. You can do both. Um, if I have a website, for example, we have C Sharp Corner website, which is existing website. So in our C Sharp Corner website, if you are contributing, we are launching a token soon called Sharp Token for C Sharp Corner. So if you are a C Sharp Corner member and you write an article, you share your code, or you're speaking at a conference or a webinar, you are going to earn these tokens. So in C Sharp Corner, what we are doing is we are calling the blockchain API. And when you say you register, you are going to get a blockchain account created for you at that time. And then we have means C Sharp Corner has a blockchain account that holds the tokens. So C Sharp Corner will hold so many tokens. From that account, we will transfer so many tokens to your account because you just contributed an article to C Sharp Corner. For that, we are using existing website, but we are calling a blockchain API to do all the transactions to store to sending basically tokens from C Sharp account to your account. Guys, think of this. Think of
Thanks, sir.
blockchain. Think of blockchain as a systems programming. If you want to work on a blockchain itself, this is like a systems programming, like building operating system, building your own database. So that's what blockchain is. And 95%, 99% of developers will never create their own blockchain. They will just use blockchains. So there is so much confusion with the online documents there, content there. Everybody is teaching you Ethereum. Everybody's teaching you Solidity. You don't care. You will probably never need that. You will probably never deploy a smart contract on a blockchain because they're already deployed there. All you have to do is probably an application that will connect to a blockchain, consume and send and share either transactions, send back and forth transactions there, read them or do something with it. That's all you're going to do. In other way, you're still building an app. You can have a mobile app. For example, you can create your own game, iOS game, where people are playing game can earn these tokens. So your iOS game will still be on Swift, okay? However, the tokens and the rewards or NFTs, they will be stored on the blockchain. And then show them from blockchain, whoever earns those tokens. Same thing, one other thing we are doing on C Sharp Corner is certification. So if you go to C Sharp Corner, once we launch this in 2 months, you go to C Sharp Corner, you get certified, you go through the certification course, say you certified in, I don't know, Python. You get the certificate, we take the certificate, store its hash on the blockchain. Now it knows that your account is the owner of that certificate's hash. So an employer wants to verify on a blockchain that yes, is this person certified in Python by C Sharp Corner? They can publicly go and look at that transaction out there. Great questions, guys. Let's keep going. Other questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So, what is the roadmap to become a Web3 developer? Means at the layman from where we should start.
It's a great question. That's amazing question. And actually, I'm writing a big article on C Sharp Corner just on that because everybody's confused. So, as a student, so Web3 is very, it's think of like if somebody says, what is the roadmap to become a web developer, right? So, when somebody says that, you can become a developer using different technologies and tracks, right? You can become a web developer using Mean. You can become a Mern. You can be a .NET web developer. You can be a just Python web developer. You can be a so similarly, Web3 has multiple tracks. Depends on what you want to be. If you want to become if you want to build a AR VR virtual reality game, then you have to learn a lot of AR VR with blockchain. Everything has to involve some kind of blockchain because that's where the digital assets are stored in Web3 world. Okay, if you want to build a, let's say a, I don't know, financial system, then you can build your website in HTML, JavaScript, and anything. So but if you want to build everything, then you'll also have to learn a smart contract. Usually in a system Web3 project, there are multiple use, similar to like any project. There are UI UX guys, front end developers, they're back end developer, they're full stack developer, and the blockchain developers. So you just add one more skill set that is blockchain in your existing skill. So for example, if I don't know what you're learning today, you can learn, you're probably learning Java, you're building applications in Java. If you add blockchain to it, you now become a Web3 developer because your application will be in Java. From Java, you're going to call blockchain APIs to do all the transactions. But yeah, I'm writing actually a detailed article on just on that on C Sharp Corner. When it goes live, I will make sure that Atul Gupta will let you guys know, so you can go and learn that.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I wanted to ask that as we know that the node is in the blockchain are decentralized. How is blockchain security or cyber security in that matter is different from the other database?
Okay, good question. Great question. So, what happens in other databases, centralized databases store on a server, right? It's a cloud, doesn't matter. So, if somehow somebody get user ID and password or hack into that server, they go to the database. Now they have entire database in front of that. Most of the time, it's not even encrypted. If your database is encrypted, some of the main transactions, chances are it's pretty secure, even though they can copy the data, but they can't really read it. If they read it, it's going to take them a long time. In blockchain now, first of all transactions, other, in some of the things also, think about that in fraudsters, what they do. They hack in the database, they store user ID password, they log into different system. That's one thing they do. Second thing hackers do is they go to these banking systems and transfer some amount of money from one account to other account. What does that mean in database? It really means that reducing the number of amount from one account to other account, right? That's what it is, just changing the numbers. Agree? All you're changing is that, oh, from this account to this account, move this money, numbers from here to here. Out of sudden, one account has other accounts money. This is not possible in blockchain because blockchain is read only. Once first time one record is accepted and approved and written on a blockchain, you can never go and change that. It's a one way on. There's no edit in blockchain. Okay, it's a write only and read only. One time write and then read only. You cannot just go change it. That's number one. So blockchain is immutable, right? That's one of the properties. It's just a fundamental property of the blockchain. Number two, most of the transactions when they are stored in a block, the it's this encrypted, right? This data is not written in plain English from the day one. So that's number two. Number three, let's say there are 50 nodes running one blockchain. Okay. And let's say I try to manipulate one of the records. I say, okay, in this one block, I'm going to change my amount from $1,000 to 1 million. So I can kind of get one account money from my account, 1 million new tokens, whatever. So I go and change somehow in one node, but then rest of the 49 nodes must also have the same hash what's on one node. So when this change happens, all nodes start comparing the hash, and then all 45 don't match with this one, so they don't accept that transaction. That transaction never gets approved on this new node. I have a detailed article written on C Sharp Corner. I know it's hard to explain in 2 minutes because it's a little complicated, but there are pictures there in that article and it explains, and there's also video in that article. So check that out. But that's the fundamental property of blockchain. That's what blockchain means. When somebody says, what is a blockchain? It has these four properties, right? It's a decentralized, it uses a consensus mechanism. It uses and then all nodes have to participate in algorithms. So it's like all those four properties come, and it obviously uses cryptography, right, to encrypt the data. So yeah, those details are there. If you want to follow up, maybe I'll ask Atul to send you guys a bunch of the links to read actually in this topic. What is Web3? What is blockchain? How the blockchain works? Why do we need blockchain? Do I have all those articles written? What I will do is maybe Atul, we can, and Simon, we can curate 5, 6 of those articles on C Sharp Corner.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Yeah, we have 5 more minutes, guys. If you have any question, please ask. Can you
Yeah, and
elaborate?
question can be anything. It doesn't have to be Web3, really. You can ask any question.
Can you elaborate something about NFT?
Okay, great. Good question. So NFTs are, it's a non-fungible token. There's two types of token: fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. And I have one other big article actually written on what is NFT on C Sharp Corner. It's just on that. So a token, think of a token is a it's a cryptocurrency. Obviously, or you can call it digital currency. So when you create a new money in the Web3 world or crypto world, you're saying I'm creating 1 million tokens. Okay. Each token is worth same. It's like a dollar or it's like a rupee. When somebody gives you 1 rupee, that 1 rupee is worth same as anybody else has other 1 rupee. And there can be billions of rupees, right? Each rupee is worth 1 rupee. So that's called fungible because they are value same and there are multiple of them. Non-fungible means that there's only 1 rupee of its own kind and there's nobody else has that. It's unique. Okay, that's called NFT. That means if I create one NFT called 1 rupee, there's only one in the world. That's it. It's like a unique art. There's no duplication of that. That's why NFTs are very important. I wouldn't say important. They are very useful whenever you're trying to represent a unique identity. For example, if you got certified in Python from C Sharp Corner, that's going to be an NFT because you are unique and your certification is unique. There's nobody other Suraj that's certified on C Sharp Corner in Python with your ID. There can be a Suraj with other name, but that's a different person. So NFTs are useful whenever you're trying to represent anything unique. It could be an art, it could be a certificate, it could be also a some kind of data which you don't want anybody to copy, and then so on and so forth. Again, I have a detailed article written called "What is NFT" on C Sharp Corner. It's a very long article. It clearly explains what everything is all about NFTs.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any more question? We'll take one more question maybe, and
Sir,
then
what are the common job roles that has been offered to freshers in Web 3.0?
okay, great question. So common jobs roles, right? So um, like any other job, there's going to be, block. It can be a blockchain intern, Web3 intern. It could be a metaverse intern, depending on your interest, what you are. But blockchain developer is a very common role now in Web3 world. You can also be a front end developer. You will build this the front end, not the blockchain part. You can also be a back end database developer because some applications, not all applications need 100% blockchain. Some need database as well as blockchain. So think about C sharp, what we are building. Let's say decentralized and centralized both combination. There's majority of data is stored in centralized, but then important some data is stored in centralized. So if you really want to go on Web3, you just need a little bit knowledge of some of the Web3 tools and technologies. You can still be building a web application. You can still be building a mobile application, but have some kind of knowledge of blockchain. How to call, okay, what are the APIs I need to call to access this blockchain? So that's all you need. So having understanding of API is kind of important. Um, and also SDKs. How do you call SDKs? Either it's a C++ SDK or .NET SDK or Python APIs, whatever it is. So front, if you want to become a full stack Web3 developer, you have to have some kind of front end, some kind of back end and APIs, and also understanding of blockchain. Um, if you're building a game, then obviously you need experience with Unity or other tools that can help you build games. Then some kind of backend, and then again blockchain. Right, that's kind of the track. Blockchain kind of becomes the database or lower level layer in the Web3 ecosystem.
Okay, sir. So I have one more question. Does Shisha Cloud provide some internship opportunities to students?
Yes. So Atul, contact Atul. We do provide. We just provided, I think, 20 students internships. We are growing that also, and there's a several projects starting in Web3 also. Yeah, this will continue to grow. So Atul is there. I think we are also taking some interns now. Yeah, definitely, yes.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, this is good. Atul, anything we good?
Yes, sir, all good. If you have any question right now, you can ask with sir. Students.
Sir, can you suggest some top companies which are hiring Web3 positions?
Yeah, one of the biggest company hiring is called Polygon. It's an Indian founder, and a lot of people are Bangalore is their big company. Uh, Polygon is hiring. All these Binance is hiring. Near is hiring. In India, there's several companies there, even though they may register office in Dubai or other places, but there's almost every big company in is has an office in India. Um, so if you go to this uh, website called coinmarketcap.com, coinmarketcap, CMC, you go there, you will see list of all top token companies. They're all blockchain companies. You can just go one by one, and some of them are actually have big presence in India. Polkadot has a big presence in India. Almost every large company has some kind of developers in India. The Polygon is biggest one.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. Hey guys, I think this is great. Atul, very good. Good job. And thank you everybody for joining. This was fantastic. Great questions, by the way. If you have more questions, I would say let's make the list from students. We can do this another time. I want to make sure any other questions I can answer. We can do more of these in future, Atul.
Sure, sir.
Especially if you have some questions.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, we will do some more session on blockchain and Web3 in future for students here. So guys,
Okay.
thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you Mahesh sir for your time and everything.
Thank you. All right. Good night. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir. Bye, bye,
Thank you
everyone.
so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.